I did kind of want to go back to when you first started playing there and sort of your debut at the French Open, which you were 15 years old.
Yeah, I think I was 14, 15 when I played my first juniors event there. And then, it was back in the day where you had those, little cameras that you roll, those, what do you call those?
Like
Sophie,
a
you
disposable
probably
camera.
don't even know that stuff.
No,
Like,
I do. A disposable camera.
So, I used to travel to all those tournaments, and back in the day, I felt like it was a lot easier to get closer to the top players. So I would go like on the sideline when Marcelo Rios was practicing, and and Pat Rafter and Arancha Sanchez, and so it was such an amazing experience for me for the first time. I never went as a kid as a fan, so for me as a junior player, to be able to get up close to the players and see Steffi Graf in the locker room under Susan Lundgren, like those kind of experiences were so unique and made me even want to be a part of that lifestyle more.
Was that your first time at a slam ever? Your first time at any slam tournament? When you were 15?
Yeah, it was my first,
Wow.
my first Grand Slam as a junior. Yeah.
Wow, I can't imagine. And what was that run like when you were 15?
Not great. I remember I lost to, who was one of the best juniors at the time, was Cara Black. She ended up being a good singles player, but even a better doubles player. But I learned a lot from her. And there's also a big tournament in Belgium, in Charleroi, on clay, a junior tournament before the juniors start at the French Open. And I remember just learning from her, like looking at her, seeing how professional she was, seeing, the warm up that she would do just on her own. Like she didn't travel with, a big group of kids, right? And so I think her brother was with her, or he was her coach at the time, but just like how locked in she was. And I remember as a young junior seeing that and kind of taking that with me and learning, from those kind of momentums that you pick up. And, but I didn't do great at the French as a junior, but I was also a very young junior, right? I think I could still play under 16s too. So, but yeah, it just fed my motivation and my hunger to be, up there with the pros one day.
God, 15 years old. I mean, I'm sure most of the viewers can relate. I was like getting my braces off and not getting asked to prom at 15. Like that's just crazy.
I still had all the pimples and all that stuff too, like going through all that stuff. So
were you still at that time? Were you in school in any way? Like were you traveling, doing like travel schooling? Like what was that like?
I was in school. So the way that the system in Belgium worked was I was at the Federation in Antwerp, where I was in a boarding school, training at the Federation, but I was at a stage. My coach was Carl Maas at the time, who ended up being my coach for many years. And who I'm still close with. But it's school at that point. I was still doing my exams in school. I would miss a lot of weeks because of travel. So it was really hard to keep up. And the system wasn't really adjusted to a traveling athlete, to traveling student, right? And I think I had really good intentions to take my math books and my English books and my Dutch to do it all on the road. And there was, I wasn't traveling with a laptop or anything. So it was basically, a big bag of heavy books, and lost interest because I felt like I was on my playground at the tennis.
I mean,
and,
you're like, sorry, I forgot my backpack. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, sorry, didn't have time. I was training 8 hours a day, which was definitely not true. But,
it's hard out here.
But that's it. And then, once I started having better results on tour, that's when I had to kind of decide and say, okay, like this does not work for me to do both. And so had to make a decision earlier on in my career to be all in on tennis.
Which, I mean, obviously worked out. It was 2 years later that you were in the final at the same tournament?
Yeah. I guess 2001, right, was my first final where I lost to, it was for my 18th birthday. I turned 18 literally the day before my first Grand Slam final. So in between the semis and the finals. And it was a big deal. I mean, not just for me personally, but I guess for Belgium too. Justine Henin and myself, we played the semifinals for the first time in a Grand Slam against each other. And that was probably the only match I won against her on the French Open clay courts.
What's the French crowd like in that environment? I mean, are they rooting for everyone? Like, what's the energy like?
Because we're so close to Belgium, I just remember walking out and seeing so many Belgian flags on Philippe Chatrier, and that was like really, really cool. I do feel like because of her native language is French, right? Being from the south of Belgium, and that there was more of a connection to from the French crowd. But again, it almost felt like playing at home because, you know, it's a 3-4 hour car ride, you know, from Belgium to Paris. So I had a lot of family members there. It was also the first time for me where, you know, like my favorite singers from Belgium all of a sudden reached out to my dad and wanted to come sit in the box and like be there. And, you know, so it was like a huge deal. And I feel like ever since then, kind of life changed on tour, and the attention and the media attention and the expectations. And, but I didn't really worry about that too much. I think I was too young, too naive to let that all
to
matter
even understand
too much. Yeah.
Yeah. So you beat her in the semifinal, and then you play Jennifer Capriati
in the
2
finals.
days later.
Yep. 2 days later. So Justine and I played on the Friday. It was my 18th birthday on Saturday. And then, we played, no, the other way around. I guess we played Thursday, my birthday on Friday. And then we played on Saturday, we played the finals and lost to Jennifer Capriati. Had chances to win. I think I was 2 points away from winning. It was a very close 3-setter. I think it was like 10-8 in the third or something like that. Very, very close.
Like still one of the longest matches in French Open history, right? It was like
Is it? I don't know.
So. Yeah, it was like 2
Right.
hours, 2 hours, 21 minutes, like something like that, a really long match.
And it was really cool for me to get to play against her because I, growing up, like loved watching Jennifer play. Also, my dad was a soccer player, soccer coach in Belgium. And I used to get some like Diadora gear because his team was sponsored by Diadora. And then Jennifer was like wearing all that Diadora gear. So whatever she was wearing, you know, I would like once in a while get a couple outfits. And I felt like it was like the greatest thing in the world that I got her like same outfits and all that stuff. So to be able to play against her. And I remember at one point, I think I was 2 points away from I think I was like 15-30 on her serve in the third. And she was serving to stay in the match. And all of a sudden, like I see in the hallway, like on the back of the court, I see all these people like getting ready to set up for the ceremony. And I see them like the trophy is there. And I'm like, oh my God. Like it all of a sudden, like it just hit me. And my arm, I just felt like, I couldn't focus anymore on what was happening like on the court. So I got so distracted. It is. But I guess, I had to learn it like that, right?